Yeah, no, it's going fine. The house is clean. His caretakers were really taking care of everything. So, except the basement. The basement was a mess. I don't know if she ever even came down here.
Hi, this is the Professional Amateur Hour coming to you with another review. This week, Leo sent me The Untelling. And this 2019 film was directed by Russell Laley and stars John Livesay, David Bayliss, and Sarah Bullock, among others, of course. The story of this movie is about this man, and he returns to Maryland because his grandfather died and has left him like this big mansion in kind of like this wooded suburbs area. So he has to go and take care of this mansion now and hopefully, get it ready to sell. So he's there cleaning up boxes, throwing stuff out, and there also might be some entities that are also in the house as well. What will happen though? Well, for that, you gotta watch the movie and find out. Alright, so let's discuss this film. So what works with it? Well, first, this one is a low budget film, and that certainly is not a problem. I think they do well with what they got for their budget. It is just about this guy in this house and then like the woods in the back. And they certainly make it work for a little ghost story. And they have different ghosts as well. There's the one in the forest, there's the one in the garage, the one upstairs, and a bunch of other ones as well. And they all work for what it is. The way that it tells the story certainly makes sense, where he's kind of discovering what these entities want and whatnot. And so, as a low budget ghost story works, it's well enough put together that it makes for kind of a fun time watching this one. Also, I think they use their location really well. They use like every room in this house, the basement, the garage, the kitchen, the bedrooms, even the bathroom as well. And it really does help you just kind of get into the movie. It makes it seem like you could have done it if you had this house, and provides you with like kind of this sense of false security where everything is just so familiar and kind of looks mundane, but then there's this element of these ghosts in there as well. It's also with this little wooded area behind it, and that certainly does work. I think running out there just gives it a variety of different locations, even though it's really only two locations, the house and then this little wooded area. And so they use that effectively too. If he has to, escape the house for a little bit, just go outside to the woods. Why not? And yeah, all of it just works together just to bring it in a little bit more. Furthermore, I think the ghosts work for what they are. It certainly is much more kind of like more atmospheric ghosts or more suspenseful ghosts rather than anything scary. And they work for what they are. They haunt him effectively, I think. He certainly starts to go crazy, and I would too, going into this one. I think Leo, though, would probably have some problems with the ghosts. For example, they appear when he's like not around, he's not even looking at them. And so you have to think, like, why is the ghost appearing? And I know Leo has ranted about that a few times, so he would have some problems. They also have like floating dust anytime there's like an entity kind of coming around, so you as the audience kind of know almost right away what is happening, even though the character doesn't. So I think it's fine for what it is. It adds to that atmosphere. It doesn't make it scary, but it makes it more feel like a haunting rather than anything else. So that certainly does work for me. And that brings me to what doesn't work with this film. Well, unfortunately, it's not scary. Nothing in this movie is scary. It is probably much more about the haunting quality of it, where it's kind of more eerie and unnerving than anything else, rather than, being out and out scary. So if you are just looking for like a ghost story, if you like that type of stuff, what is there? There's ghost adventurers, ghost hunters, where they're just looking for ghosts or just having these ghosts around, kind of tormenting this guy here and there, then you'll probably like this one. It's just not very scary. It also is kind of a slower paced movie as well, so you gotta get ready for that. Like I said, it's much more kind of about that haunting atmosphere and that kind of creepiness of it all, rather than anything else. Also, there's a few flubs in this one, if you're, keen-eyed to see them. Some of them are much harder to notice, like if you're having a phone conversation, then it switches to like the other ear or whatever. Also, there is this one part where he's like getting drunk or something, having like a conversation to himself, but some shots he has no, spill on his shirt, but then some shots he does. So they're just using, the footage they got with the takes that they got And then just combining them, like no one would notice there's a big spot on this guy's shirt half the time, and half the time it's gone. Or maybe that's the ghosts that are doing it, right? So some of these things, you just have to look past, low budget stuff. It's fine. You kind of expect these things to happen every so often. So it is something to forgive. As for a recommendation, well, if you kind of like slower paced ghost stories, this might be one for you that you can just, press play, sit down, and relax for an hour and a half or whatever it is. So if that sounds like you, then yeah, press play on this one. I think you can find it on Tubi. As for a rating, well, I'll give it the score of 3, and that's the score for meh. And with that being said, I think that's all I wanted to say. So like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.